The world's most prolific serial killer might have never been caught if he knew how to use a computer. Imagine a person committing serial killings who is not only friends with his victims, but also a well-known figure in the city and, on top of that, a doctor. This astonishing story is about Dr. Harold Shipman, who used his clinic not to save lives, but to take them. In a small town called Hyde in England, with a population of just 30 people, Dr. Shipman carried out serial killings right under everyone's noses for 23 years. He killed more than 250 people, yet no one suspected him. And perhaps, no one would have ever caught on if it weren't for a small mistake he made. Why was he killing people? How did he manage to evade capture for so long? And what clue led the police to finally uncover the murders that had been happening for years? Welcome back to Jam TV. Today, we will be exploring the chilling story of Dr. Harold Shipman. Dr. Shipman mainly targeted elderly patients who lived alone, knowing that no one would suspect their deaths. He was well known in Hyde, considered a caring doctor who would visit his patients at home and listen to their concerns, making them feel less lonely. Some trusted him so much they even gave him the keys to their homes. This made him very popular in Hyde, as people believed he truly cared for the elderly. However, behind this facade, Dr. Shipman was gathering information about who lived alone, their wealth, and their property. Once satisfied, he would administer a fatal overdose of medication to his patients. Because they were already over 80 years old, their deaths were never questioned. This continued for years, and no one suspected a thing, not until he made a fatal mistake. Dr. Shipman began his career in a town called Pontefract, about 70 kilometers from Hyde, where he worked in a hospital. Later, in 1974, he moved to Todmorden and started working at Abraham Ormerod Medical Center as a general practitioner. During this time, he began prescribing large quantities of pethidine, a powerful painkiller, to some of his patients. This drug is highly addictive, and Shipman himself became addicted to it. He gave it to his patients, making them feel better, but in reality, they were becoming dependent on the drug without knowing it. This made them more attached to Shipman. Eventually, Shipman was caught and fired, and his license was almost revoked, but he narrowly avoided that. After spending some time in rehab, Shipman returned to Hyde in 1977 and began working as a general practitioner at Donnybrook Medical Center. By 1980, he had built a solid reputation in Hyde, continuing his practice while secretly killing his elderly patients. The frequency of his murders increased significantly in 1993 when he opened his clinic and became well respected in the community. For years, no one suspected a thing until March 1998, when Dr. Linda Reynolds, who worked at a nearby hospital, expressed concerns about the high death rate among Shipman's patients. Dr. Reynolds noted that Shipman's small clinic had seen 16 patient deaths in the last 3 months, while her hospital, with 3 times as many patients, had only recorded 14 deaths in the same period. Suspicion deepened when it was discovered that all of Shipman's patients had been cremated, which is unusual for Christians, who usually prefer burial. Dr. Reynolds filed a report to the Manchester coroner, stating that most of Shipman's patients were elderly women found dead in their homes. What was even more suspicious was that many of these patients were well dressed and found sitting upright in chairs at the time of their deaths. Shipman was often either present at the time of death or the first person to arrive after, which was highly unusual. Despite these suspicions, the initial investigation yielded no concrete evidence, and it was closed after a month. Shipman continued his killing spree, murdering 3 more people. However, his downfall came with his final victim, an 81-year-old former mayor of Hyde, Kathleen Grundy, who died in her home on June 24, 1998. Shipman was the last person to see her alive and later signed her death certificate, citing old age as the cause of death. Kathleen's daughter, Angela Woodruff, a lawyer, became suspicious after finding her mother's will, which left her estate to Dr. Shipman. Angela knew this was a forgery because the will mentioned only one of her mother's 2 houses, indicating that whoever wrote it didn't know about the second one, likely Dr. Shipman himself. Angela went to the police, and a new investigation was launched. Kathleen Grundy's body was exhumed, and the post-mortem revealed high levels of diamorphine, heroin. When questioned, Shipman claimed that Grundy was a drug addict and had documented this in her medical records. However, Shipman had recently started using computerized medical records and didn't realize that the system automatically saved the last edit date. The police found that Shipman had entered this information after her death, confirming their suspicions. Additionally, the police found the typewriter used to forge the will, and Shipman was arrested on September 7, 1998. When news of his arrest broke, more families came forward with suspicions about their loved ones' deaths under Shipman's care. The police investigated 15 more of Shipman's former patients and found a pattern. All had been given fatal doses of diamorphine, and Shipman had signed their death certificates, often listing old age as the cause of death. Shipman would also suggest cremation, ensuring that all evidence was destroyed. Inquiries into Shipman's actions revealed that he had killed 218 patients between 1975 and his arrest. However, the true number is believed to be closer to 260, and some experts estimate it could be as high as 508. On January 13, 2004, Shipman hanged himself in his prison cell, leaving many questions unanswered. Some believe Shipman killed for financial gain, while others think it was linked to his mother's death, who had been given morphine to ease her pain when she was dying of cancer. Shipman may have wanted to recreate the control he felt over life and death, watching his patients die just as his mother had. Thank you for watching this video from Jazz Brew. Please like and share, and we'll see you in the next one.